And welcome back to Hawk Talk. Jeff Dooley joined by Hartford baseball coach Justin Blood. And Coach Blood, before we talk about this year's exciting time, what does it mean for you guys to be back on the field? I know you've been practicing for a while, and just to get out there and hear the mitt and to hear the crack of the bat, I'm sure, especially what everyone has gone through this past year.
The guys are ready. They're definitely ready mentally and physically. It's been a long, patient wait, but we've been able to get out here on the field a lot this preseason. Play a number of inter squad games, so it was good to kind of get their legs under them and on the field and not be stuck inside in batting cages. Even though we had those accessible this spring for the first time as well, so it's been a productive preseason. We've tried to put the rest of the year behind us, and I feel like we're ready. But the guys are for sure excited to get a chance to play against an outside opponent.
Justin, what type of things can you get accomplished preseason?
Depends on the weather a lot of times. So year to year, it's different. I sent an email out this past February, an alumni email. And I looked back at the one I had sent the year prior, and we had 6 inter squads last spring. By February 13th, we were on the field 6 times playing games. So this winter was a much different story than last winter. And I've had conversations with other Northeast coaches, and you can typically see, how Northern teams come out of the gate. Depends a lot on how much they're able to get outside. In the years that we're stuck in the batting cages, oftentimes we're a little slower when we get on the diamond. But last year we got off to a good start and we were outside a lot. This year was a much tougher winter, but with our season being pushed back when we eliminated the non-conference games, it has given us that window of time to get out on the field quite a bit for the last 3 weeks. So it changes year to year, but we've been blessed to be out here for quite a while now.
I know, Coach, there's just so much excitement about this year's team. Talk a little bit about this year's group and some of the expectations that the coaches have for the players.
It starts with us always with pitching and defense. We've got Nick Domkowski back, who, seems like, 6-7 years ago when he was freshman of the year and pitcher of the year. But he's had a huge impact on our pitching staff for the last 3 years, was off to a great start last year. So he's back and ready to go. Nate Florence, who I felt was just starting to kind of get into rhythm last year. He's looked really strong this preseason. So he's back. And then Kenny Turner, who is a redshirt freshman, I guess now. He's been lights out at times too this preseason. So we have 3 starting pitchers that we feel really good about. I mean, any one of those 3 guys could be a first team all conference pitcher this year and could be pitcher of the year. So when you have that kind of starting rotation, it gives guys a lot of confidence. We've got a strong defense behind them with Rob Carmody behind the plate, Zach Ardito back, moving from third base to shortstop, Drew DiMartino at second, John Thrasher in center field. So usually when you have a good defensive team, you're really strong up the middle. We've got some good veterans and some good defenders. So pitching and defense, that's where it will start with us. Every year that we've been good, it's been pitching and defense. So
usually if you pitch well, usually give you a chance, a shot to win the game. And you mentioned your 3 top guys in the rotation. Can you break them down and talk a little about each of them, and including Dabrowski, you mentioned was the pitch rookie of the year, and then the pitcher of the year back in 2018.
First and foremost, he's a competitor. The kid, whether it's PFPs or, in the weight room or just, whatever, it doesn't matter. He loves to compete, always talking and keeping it loose. But on the mound, his stuff has elevated throughout the years. He was a fastball changeup guy when he first got here. Was like mid 80s consistently with a really good changeup. Well, now he's upper 80s, low 90s with his fastball. The changeup is still very good. He's got a little curveball he can dump in for strikes, but a slider that has really become a swing and miss pitch for him as well. So you have a left-handed pitcher that has 4 pitches, can locate to a bunch of different spots, and has the compete tool, it's going to be tough on teams. And we feel really comfortable and confident, putting him out on the mound against anybody in the country. Then Nate Florence, we have joked with him. He was primarily a one-pitch guy. When he first got here, it was an above-average fastball. He's just got one of those fastballs that has a lot of life and gets on hitters. He gets great extension down the mound. But now he's got a changeup that he's been using effectively, and his breaking ball has come a long, long way. So now a guy who had just under 100 strikeouts his sophomore year, primarily working off the fastball, now has two other pitches that are pretty strong, and one for sure that's above average. So we feel really good about Nate. And Kenny Turner was a 20th round draft pick out of high school, so clearly he had great talent coming out of high school. He possesses 90. He's been anywhere from 90 to 93 this preseason. Good sink on the fastball, and his breaking ball, the shape used to be a little inconsistent, but now it's a good slider, and he has a developing changeup as well. So three guys that throw strikes, they compete, and they have above average stuff. So like I said, that's why we feel so good about them.
Justin, I know you're very proud of what the program has done the last several years, but have you thought about, this is pretty cool. You just mentioned you've got a kid now in your rotation that got drafted, said no to playing professional baseball. He's coming to play for the Hartford Hawks. I mean, it just goes to show you how far the program has come, and really you've built something special. You're getting kids that are getting drafted to commit to play baseball at the University of Hartford.
I appreciate that. It has taken, a long time. It's taken 10 years for us to get to this point where we feel like we have a really strong foundation, whether it's the product on the field, the alumni, the support we get from the administration, from our alums, our families, our parents. It's just, it's what Coach Mal and I, when we first got here, it's what we envisioned, something that people were proud of and wanted to rally around. And obviously one that competed on the field really well and competed for championships. So we're proud. We're definitely proud and happy. There's more work to be done. We don't want to just sit on one championship. We really like to get another ring and keep trying to elevate this program.
Hawks picked tied for second in the America East Conference. Are you a coach that believes a whole lot in preseason coaches polls, or buy into all that stuff?
I think we may have been picked second to last in 2018. When we won it, we were picked lower in the polls. I can't remember. And so we won it that year, but who could have predicted a freshman comes in and has the impact Nick did. And right. Seth Pinkerton really elevated his game that year. And so, it depends. We don't know what's happening behind the scenes for all these other programs. We don't know, has a guy taken a step back? Has a guy really elevated his game? So the polls don't really ever matter that much. I feel like every year in our conference, one of the teams that was picked at the bottom finishes towards the top. 2019, we were picked to finish first after we won the championship. Well, we had a key injury to Nate Florence, and we finished towards the bottom of the league that year. So no, it's nice to be considered one of the preseason favorites, but it really it doesn't mean a whole lot.
We'll talk about the schedule. I know the University of Hartford announced you play a 40-game schedule, and you'll actually have 5 weekends at home where you play back-to-back doubleheaders on Saturday and Sunday. And I'm sure the kids were just ecstatic knowing that there was going to be college baseball this spring.
Very excited to know that there are games to be played and a championship to be won, hopefully. But 4 games, you better like baseball if you're going to play 4 games in 2 days, right? Because it's a lot. So it's going to be interesting to see how all that plays out, how different programs and ourselves, how we choose to use our roster. Pitchers, are guys going to get used back-to-back days, or are you going to extend a guy on Saturday and have him not available Sunday? What position players get to bounce in and out of the lineup? It's going to be really interesting.
Do you use the first couple of games to decide maybe if you're not sure about a kid, maybe a first-year player, or a guy you're a little bit have a question about, or is it basically get in there and obviously you want to win every game, but is the development versus winning important early on?
Winning, especially, in our current situation where you never know if a pause is going to happen and you're going to lose a weekend. So, that's the other factor is you have to play every weekend like you might not be playing the following weekend or the following 2 weekends. So, yeah, I think we're going to probably lean on our veterans early, and those guys will get some opportunities, and they've been through this before. They know what to expect, and we do have some really talented young kids on this team. Our freshman class was recognized by Baseball America as one of the top mid-major recruiting classes in the country. So we're excited about some of these guys, and some of them have had really good preseasons and great falls. But they still are, they haven't faced Binghamton, or a Stony Brook, or gotten into a dogfight with Albany. So I think those veterans will probably get that first crack at it.
That being said, your first 2 home series, Binghamton, NJIT, can you talk a little about what you expect? And again, all this can change because you haven't seen them in more than a year now, but with the Bearcats and with the Highlanders.
COVID, non-COVID, doesn't matter. Binghamton is always consistent. That they've been one of the most, if not the most consistent program in the league for the last decade. They oftentimes don't have a ton of flash. There's not going to be a guy who is going to hit double-digit homers maybe, or a guy's going to hit 400, but they just have a bunch of guys that do their job, whether it's a hit and run, whether it's a sack, bunt, get a big hit in a big situation. They're really steady with their lineup. And this year they have a bunch of veterans back. So they're going to be tough. They always have a good pitching staff, a couple of top key arms. The kid Thomas Babelis that they have, their Friday or number 1 starter. He's going to be very good, might be a draft pick this year. So they'll be strong. NJIT, we don't know a whole lot about. We're using some video and some programs that we have and some contacts that we have to try to get more information on them. But being their first year in the league, we won't know for sure until we come face to face with them. But Binghamton will be a great test right out of the gate.
What have you told your kids about doing the right thing and being safe and being smart on campus? Because all it takes is a positive, and then the whole team has that effect.
Just that, just try to be as diligent as you can, guys. Every decision you make is going to trickle down to the rest of the team. So keep your masks on, socially distance, the same things that everyone's been saying for months. I will say that our living arrangements are a little disjointed this year, which actually may help us in some regards. We've got a number of kids living off campus. Some of our apartments that are usually full 6-man apartments only have 3 or 4 guys in them. Our freshmen are pretty much all in singles. So, those factors, though it's not great for team building and it's not great for the building camaraderie and the guys getting to know each other real well. It does maybe help us in terms of contact tracing and trying to keep guys healthy and on the field.
Last question, Coach, before we let you go. I just you've got to be proud because the team has done an excellent job in the classroom. We always talk about being a student athlete, and sometimes the student important role comes first before the athlete. And the baseball team's GPA second among men's sports teams at the University of Hartford. I mean, you guys are getting it done. You're winning championships on the field, but getting it done in the classroom as well. It just says tremendous things about the program.
I appreciate that as well. And, it's a conversation we have during the recruiting process. We tell them, look, all the guys we bring in, they care a lot about baseball. They work hard. They want to be out here a lot, but they also know that they have to take care of their schoolwork first. You're not going to be out here. You're not going to get the opportunity to work with Coach Mao, Coach Stover, and myself if you're not doing it in the classroom. If you're missing your study hall hours, if you're missing your meetings with tutors. So, we talk about that right up front. And then I think more importantly, when they get here, they see the guys in front of them living that, and they see us following through with that. If a kid comes to practice and, he's an hour short on study hall, he's getting kicked out. He's getting sent back in to go finish. So And we recruited a lot of intelligent kids, much better students than I ever was. So it makes my job a lot easier just to know that we really don't, it's plug and play with a lot of these kids. They're just, academic kids to begin with, and they want to do a good job in the classroom. And they take pride in it.
Well, it's an exciting time. Obviously, the college basketball tournament just set to begin. Guys in major leagues are in spring training, and the Hartford Hawks ready to kick off the season. I know you guys would love to play with the stands full here at the University of Hartford, but fortunately, we'll have the games available on America's TV at home. And Coach, I really appreciate the time today.
Appreciate it, Jules.